All right. Let's see. Jim, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the PowerPoint screen? All right, wonderful. Well, welcome everyone to today's edition of the Terraces at San Joaquin Gardens Neighborhood News. Today is April 27th, 2020, and we will, as you know, be recording this to air on Touchtown. So today's call will air on Tuesday and Wednesday at 2 and 4 p.m. And then Thursday's call will air on Friday and Saturday. So hopefully everyone will have the most up-to-date information for all that's going on at the terraces at San Joaquin Gardens. Wanted to give you an update on COVID-19. So as of April 25th, because they do not update on Sundays, we've had 458 cases in Fresno County. 44 have been travel related. 172 close contact, 203 community spread or unknown, 39 are under investigation. The total deaths are 7, total that have been hospitalized are 90, and recovered 160. For San Joaquin Gardens, we still have 1 positive case. That is a team member who worked in the village, who technically the Department of Health said that we didn't even need to report it in our numbers because this individual tested positive, I believe, on the 20th and had not been on our campus since the 4th. So they were well out of the range of threshold of concern for that transmission. So they actually, both the California Department of Public Health as well as the Department of Health said that we didn't even need to inform our residents and team members because this individual had not been on campus. But to err on the side of transparency, we wanted to let all of you know. We do have 1 team member PUI, and Valerie, did you have an update on that? Did we get a hold of the Department of Health on that one?
No, they have not returned my call yet.
Okay. So then we still have 1 team member who is a PUI, and this is somebody, again, that PUI term is person under investigation, and they're typically a symptomatic individual that are being tested for COVID. I believe this individual's symptoms weren't typical COVID symptoms, but we're finding a lot of testing happening in the Fresno area for even atypical signs, which is a good thing because we would rather know than not know. So we will update that. Hopefully we will have that information. I can't imagine we wouldn't have that information either today or tomorrow, but we're still waiting to hear from that team member and or the Department of Health. So we will be calling team residents starting today. Victoria, our administrative assistant here that works upstairs in the Valencia building, will be calling all of our residents to update their emergency contact information, to ask if there is an email address either for yourself as a resident or for a family member, especially during this time of COVID when we need to have the ability to provide rapid communication. Email is the best way for us to do that. So if we want to get updated on your correct power of attorneys, any family members or email addresses that you want to provide to us. The genesis behind this is that a new law went into effect for the Department of Social Services, who regulates the majority of our campus. They said for any COVID positive team member or residents that you needed to inform residents and their family members immediately. For the Department of Public Health, which regulates our Village Healthcare Center, they stated that that must be done within 12 hours. So that's pretty immediate as well. So the easiest way for us to notify family members is by email. So that's why we want to update our database to make sure that we have all that information so that we can provide any COVID-related information to your loved ones in a rapid fashion. So please expect to have a phone call from Victoria, and she will be asking for that information if you would be so willing to share it. In our village, we're still doing all that we can to spread joy. The main thing we're doing is allowing folks to stay connected to loved ones with regularly scheduled video calls. So a lot of our village team members, including Melissa Sanders, Abby, all of those good folks have been doing a ton of work taking technology to the residents so that they can contact their family and friends. This resident gave us permission to share this photo, but it shows how important Zoom is during this time so that you can stay connected to your loved ones. They're always doing dance parties and fun stuff as well, so that we are sharing the joy amongst our residents, complete with pirate punch, because nothing says a good time like pirate punch. In assisted living in Grove, same thing. We are doing everything we can to spread some love and good cheer. So regularly visiting our residents in their apartments, helping with check-ins with their family members, anything we can do to spread some goodwill and cheer during this time. So lots of love happening. Wanting to make sure we acknowledge everybody on their birthdays. So we've been doing that in all levels of living, making sure team members go and sing and acknowledge them so they can feel special during that time. In our memory care, we've been doing lots of fun minute-to-minute crossover games, as you saw. So really keeping our team and our residents motivated. In sales, they still are busy accepting all of your deliveries and for the whole campus, and they're coordinating out of that office to get deliveries to and fro, especially for the campus-wide materials that we order are mainly being housed there and then relocated to the department that they need. They continue to sell. So they are engaging prospects over the phone, via email. They're providing FaceTime tours. We still are managing to stay current on our leads database, so making sure we're having those appointments and those scheduled connections. There is a new app called One Day app that the entire sales team will be trained on this week, and that will allow them to record quick videos, messages to interact with their team. And so that this might be something we actually spread community-wide, but the sales department had originally engaged with this app as a way of continuing their business in this new post-COVID climate. And now activities and other folks are looking at it as a way for us to potentially explore for the greater community here at San Joaquin Gardens to utilize this tool. So more to come on that. Our Connect line still stays active, so please, 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 please call 430-8216 for anything that you might need. If you need a grocery order, a prescription pickup, you need to order some paper pantry products, anything that you need, they'll help you. They don't replace the concierge service, but they are there to provide that service for you. So please don't sit and wonder. Give that line a call, and one of our team members will graciously assist you. In lifestyle enrichment, we've got our monthly garden news going out. This is the May's editions, lots of great stories, poems, and pictures. On Friday, we will continue to send out that weekly newsletter that we hope has been very helpful during this time, providing the most up-to-date of information on what's going on campus, so you can still look forward to that. I received a lovely video from a resident who recorded the Sunday hymn sing-along. It was very moving and very powerful. So a big thank you to everyone who went out and participated in that. Everyone were appropriately socially distanced and singing, and it just is a great way of building community during this time. So thank you to everyone who so willingly got out there and shared their talents and saying, we really do hope to see you there. This will continue every Sunday. And it just really was a fantastic turnout and a very special moment for all who were involved. So thank you. And again, that's in the Tuscany Laundry area. So if you don't know where that is, please let us know, because some of you that are on other neighborhoods in campus might not know where this is. So please, again, you can call that Connect line in the sales office or call the concierge, and they will tell you and even bring you a map to show you where that is if you would like to go and join along on Sundays at 9:30 a.m. A reminder that Friday, May 8th, team members will be coming around to every neighborhood serving tropical concoctions door to door. So please find your favorite luau attire, grab a seat on your balcony or porch, and do the hula and yell aloha at your neighbors. A fun fact about Hawaii, that's where my husband and I went on our honeymoon, and I may or may not have participated in too many tropical concoctions that involved rum. And at some point, I had all the umbrellas from the various drinks in my hair. And as a newly crowned Lopez on my honeymoon, began yelling "Ola" at everyone instead of "Aloha," much to my groom's dismay. So I will be much more in control of myself on Friday, May 8th than I was on my honeymoon. I will not be partaking of the concoctions. Remember the campfire game of one person starting a story and telling the next person and the next person until you reach the end, and the final story is hilariously different from the beginning. The old telephone game. So join us for some fun while staying connected to each other. You're going to call the concierge desk at, again, 430-8211 and let them know if you would like to participate. You do need to call in by May 1st. That's your deadline if you would like to participate. A flyer will be given to you with the date of the game and the name and the phone number of the person you need to call. The beginning story and the end story will be published on Touchtown. A special guest will be starting our very first story. So again, if you'd like to play in the old-fashioned telephone game, call the concierge by May 1st so that you can be a part of this fun new game. So this will be a great way for all of us at San Joaquin Gardens to stay connected during this time of physical distancing. We'll play the telephone game. So I remember that game. That's a fun game. What's going on in dining? Well, first we want to extend our apologies. So our sincere apologies for the late meal deliveries over the weekend. I received some emails and some voicemails and some text messages. So I know things weren't up to our standard over the weekend. And for that, we really, really do apologize. We can't say that something like that will never happen again, but what we can say is we will do a better job of communicating with you. I think there's nothing worse than sitting in your apartment wondering what the heck is going on. So we want to make sure that you are in the loop. So for instance, this weekend we had several call-offs. The team were simply behind and they were running around like crazy trying to fix that, but obviously they didn't get the meals out on time. So going forward, if there is any disruption to our scheduled deliveries from dining, we will inform the concierge so that they can give you the most up-to-date information when you call. So if you're sitting waiting for your meal, you can call the concierge, say, you know what, they normally are here by now. It's been 45 minutes since they normally would have arrived. And you can let them, and the concierge will have that information for you. So we need to do a better job of communicating to one another and bringing each other into the loop so that we can all as a team better serve you. So that's one of our key takeaways for how we can better serve you going forward. The other is that we are hearing loud and clear that you do not like your meal delivery times being varied. So as you remember, we were starting at one area and going to another and switching that so that the same person wouldn't always be last. Well, what we're hearing from you is you want the delivery time standardized so that you can plan on when your meals will be delivered. So deliveries will start at 11 a.m. for the lunch delivery to Sequoia, followed by Tuscany, Bolano, and then finally Piazza. And for dinner, delivery will start at 3:30 p.m., starting again at Sequoia, going to Tuscany, Milano, and then Piazza. We are also going to have the managers go deliver Piazza to cut down delivery time waiting periods. So instead of just having our servers running around delivering the food, we're going to have them go and do that one building to streamline it, to make things more efficient and quicker. So we hope that will serve folks. We'd ask for you to continue to give us feedback on how this works. I believe we will be starting this tomorrow. So give us your feedback. We are going to try to do a better job in serving you during this time and delivering your meals in a more consistent, concise fashion. April 29th is everybody's favorite day, and that is National Zucchini Bread Day. It's one of my favorite desserts. The only reason I grow zucchini in my garden is so I can make zucchini bread day. So this won't be baked by me, but I can tell you zucchini bread from my garden will be heading your way in about a month or so. But on April 29th, we will be bringing you a slice of Sally's famous zucchini bread to your front door. So this is just a fun treat from us to you. So we will include the recipe for all of you growing zucchini in the garden. Here at San Joaquin Gardens, you can turn that zucchini into a lovely zucchini bread should you choose. So again, look for some friendly faces to come to your doors on Wednesday delivering zucchini bread day. One of us may or may not be dressed up like a zucchini. So it might be fun for all. So look again for us to be at your front doorstep bearing gifts of zucchini bread this Wednesday. Again, a friendly reminder that we've got lots of great stuff at Pete's Grocery, so you can give us a call at 430-8228 to get some fruit cups, fruit and yogurt parfaits, a wine, ice cream, coffee. If there's other items that we can get, we will continue to try to expand this for you so that we can make sure that you all have plenty to make sheltering in place as enjoyable as possible. So continue to look for Pete's Grocery for those items. Wanted to let you know that tonight's menu has changed. So as many of you have seen on the news, there is a national, if not global pork shortage, but definitely national pork shortage. We will not be serving pork on the menu this evening due to that pork shortage. Instead, we will be having grilled chicken breast with roasted tomatoes and aged provolone with wild rice and roasted asparagus. So our apologies for this issue, but as we said in previous editions of the TSJG Neighborhood News, we will most likely be substituting a lot of the pork that was originally on the menu with other items due to this shortage. In building and grounds, we also have a lot of fun things going on. So a lot of your batteries have died in your car. So we've gotten quite a few phone calls from the concierge stating that you needed to call a tow truck or somebody because your battery had died. So we are here to give you a jump if you need one. So simply call Building and Grounds at 430-8250. And a member of the maintenance team can come and give you a jump. It is a good idea for you to drive a little bit to keep that battery going during this time of sheltering in place. It's okay to take a short little drive to keep that battery going during this time. But again, if your car does not start, please let us know and we will come and help you with that jump start. For all of our green thumbs, this is a picture of our garden, our community garden here at San Joaquin Gardens. So it is the time of year where a lot of bountiful things are emerging from the dirt and giving life. And so the bumblebees, the squirrels, everybody's having a great time out there. Hopefully they're not eating anything that you're growing, but there's definitely a lot to partake in from there. So make friends with your neighbors who have that green thumb, and I'm sure you can get some tomatoes or something else from them during the summer months. And if you hadn't had a chance, this is the best time of year to take a stroll. And if you can get anything from these neighborhood news sessions, it's that we don't want our residents holed up in their apartments during this time of sheltering in place. It's absolutely appropriate for you to go out and take a stroll. Please wear your masks, physically distance yourself from one another, but go out and see all that God's glory in action and amongst the flowers. And there's just so many little niches to this campus where you're going to see something you maybe have never seen before. There's so many beautiful areas here, and we want you to not miss that opportunity, especially before it gets too warm. So in the morning and the evenings, it's just so beautiful. Take that stroll, take a look at all those flowers, and enjoy the bounty of San Joaquin Gardens. Our team members are still out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, going at that screening tent, providing that security and service to our campus. We are, as it gets warmer, looking at adding some misters or some fans or something out there to provide some relief to those team members that are there 24 hours a day, because it is going to get warm pretty quick around here. But they are here to assist you. And as always, you can call security. That phone number is answered 24 hours a day at 696-1910. If you don't have that number programmed into your cell phone, we do ask that you put that in your cell phone, because we want you to have that assurance that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, somebody will answer that phone for you. Dennis, did you have anything for this edition of the TSJG News before I moved on? I do know he wants me to remind all of you, the executive board, executive council of the resident council, to stay on after this call so you can conduct your meeting. Is there anything else, Dennis, that you had?
That was the only thing that I had.
All right. So board members, you know who you are, so please stay on after the conclusion of the news edition, and we will conduct that meeting. On the good news front, we have a very funny resident on campus who wanted to make sure that her garden, what would you call these? Her garden fixtures, figurines, I'm trying to think of what the term are, were compliant during this time of sheltering in place. So all of the outside garden decor, including Eddie the egret, and I don't know what the other one is. Oh, Henry the hedgehog, are wearing masks, and they are physically distanced 6 feet apart from one another. So even her garden figurines are compliant with the physical distancing during this time of COVID. So great job. And I'm going to let people guess where this comes from. So you can call the concierge if you happen to know whose yard this is. We also have, again, lovely chalk art throughout the campus as we try to spread joy and give you something new and exciting and fun to look at, in addition to the beautiful gardens throughout the campus. We're going to continue to put that out in a variety of formats, and we have some amazing artists within our team that are showcasing their talents to all of you. Again, a big thank you to all of the joyful noise that we heard from the Tuscany Circle from the Sunday hymn sing-along at 9:30 a.m. That was so beautiful and moving, and we're just really think it's a wonderful thing that our residents are doing this together during this time. So great job to everyone who participated, and everybody's physically distanced and doing everything they're supposed to do to be safe during this time. Very lovely. So continue to look at those neighborhood gardens. I think that's our reminiscence neighborhood right there with Robin. Here's Elaine and Alan enjoying the fragrance of their sweet peas, and a very large bumblebee too. So garden is looking great. Is that an artichoke? That looks like an artichoke. So just some funny things to remember. So Dennis the Menace says, can't we go to restaurants? I'm sick of eating groceries. And my kids would agree with that. Everyone else's car is getting 3 weeks to the gallon at the moment. And it's like being 16 again. Gas is cheap, but I'm grounded. And then for those of us that are staying in their apartments and homes, overslept this morning. I was late getting to the living room. So continue to send us your funnies, and we will add them to our ending edition of this show. And just a reminder, your April stimulus checks have arrived. So again, we hope that we can grow better together, even when apart. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment and check the chat function. All right, Valerie let me know that the one team member PUI that we had is negative. So now we just have the one team member that was positive that was never on campus during the time frame for which there was any area of concern. So just the one positive resident, that other team member is negative. So that is good news. Valerie, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, and then I'm going to reshare my screen. And Valerie and I are going to give you a brief update from the Department of Health call we just concluded. So this is an overview of the California by the numbers. So currently over 42,000 cases in California, over 1,700 fatalities. So this is just the numbers. The numbers hospitalized in California is 3,300. The number in ICU is 1,184. So that number is still down, and those are for confirmed COVID. A lot of you might have seen St. Agnes is doing some layoffs. Community is doing some furloughs because the numbers are just down in the hospitals. So we have not seen the surge that they were predicting. So the sheltering in place is working. I'm going to go, sorry for the quick change there. This was something that is of interest. So we are working with our the Community Support Center at Human Good to update the new symptoms that we need to be screening for. So originally the symptoms that were brought up in terms of COVID were fever, cough, and shortness of breath. The newer symptoms associated with COVID have become chills, repeated shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, new loss of taste or smell. Now, obviously, these are very common symptoms. So it's really going to be us educating our team that if you normally have migraines and get headaches routinely, if that's normal for you, that might not be something that's going to be a huge concern for which you would go see your doctor or stay home from work for 2 weeks. But if it's unusual for you to have that severe and continuous headache, that's something we need to know about. So interestingly enough, at one of the other Human Good communities, team member that came back positive had no other symptoms other than the loss of taste and smell. So we've already seen that come to fruition within our Human Good family. So we are updating our screening questions to include that. Valerie, is there anything else you would add to that?
Just pointing out the yellow box of when to seek medical attention. People are waiting too long to go to the hospital, so making sure that we're getting people attention. Of course, you guys can push your button at any time for us to come and check you out.
But that was if somebody's having trouble breathing, persistent pain or pressure in the face, confusion, especially in folks that are over the age of 60. So one of the common indicators they found associated with COVID for that specific group is an increase in confusion. And then the most recent, I think this was very recent, right, Valerie, was the bluish lips or face is a new, which I would hope anybody that sees that would seek medical attention.
Yeah, that's related to the lack of oxygen
Yeah.
that people are.
I would hope they would do that. Let's see. Others atypical signs that they have seen are developing rashes. And again, if you normally get a heat rash, but you know, this is something that is another unusual. I wanted to get to that. So this, a lot of discussion today on our call with the Department of Health about unsheltering in place, which obviously is the topic on all the news channels and everything. And again, they kind of really reiterated that testing is going to be the key, and that for folks over 60, they are going to be the last to return to normal. So there really is, it's definitely going to be, we are going to be the last frontier in terms of going to the new normal for COVID. Is there anything else you would add to that, Valerie?
Not yet. I haven't got a chance to watch the governor's update today.
I just sorry. So the hierarchy of controls is obviously having the PPE available.
If you could skip to the next slide, it talks about,
Oh,
there you go.
thank you. So I don't know if you want to speak to this, but this is kind of looking at what's the most effective and the least effective. So the most effective is obviously keeping people sheltering in place in that physical isolation from others, all the way to PPE, wearing masks, respirators, and gloves. It's that the hard thing right now is in our industry, when you're physically working so close to people, it is very hard not, even with all the best protective equipment. I mean, you rub your eye once and you could give, COVID to yourself. So it really is just a highly, highly contagious disease. And when you were caregivers, we can't work from home. So it is obviously one of those essential worker things. Anything else you would add to that, Valerie?
No, I just thought it was interesting that we put a lot of emphasis on PPE, but it's at the bottom of the pyramid. So all these other things that we can do will make it better, hand hygiene, changing our schedules, making sure we have proper ventilation. So just an interesting slide, I thought.
Thank you. Is there any other slides you wanted, because there's a lot. So is there any other slides you wanted me to show the residents?
The last two were talking about long-term care. That one. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
Sorry, it's moving. Okay. Is that the one you wanted?
That one.
One?
Yeah.
So this is just talking about the advisory for long-term care. Their term is long-term care facilities. So they are advising that anybody returning from a hospital to a congregate setting like ours should be quarantined for 14 days post their return. So we are already making that recommendation, but the term quarantine is very different than making a recommendation. So we'll be seeking guidance from our home office as to if we can make this a requirement, so to speak, for our residents. In our higher levels of living, we already kind of do, but in residential living, obviously it's hard to monitor. So more to come on this. Sorry, wrong way. So this is if the hospital doesn't do a COVID test, is that right, Valerie? And for which that we get results prior to their return. So in most cases, at least in the last 2 weeks, I would say, we have been receiving negative COVID test results before the hospital discharges the resident back to our setting.
Yeah, and they are recommending to the hospitals that anybody that lives in long-term care be tested, even if they don't have the classic COVID symptoms. So they're really trying to test everyone before they come home, even if they don't have the classic symptoms. So,
is there anything else, Valerie, from the presentation that you would want to share?
One thing that they talked about that they're also seeing in 30% of severe cases is blood clotting issues. So people are having strokes, things like that. So that was in the news today. And then you'll also see in the news today, there's some studies about taking Pepcid and IV 9 times the dose you or I would take for heartburn, but that might have some promising outcomes for treating COVID. So you might see that today as an update as well.
Thank you.